The Hero Xtreme 160R has been on our radar for quite some time. Now we pretty much knew what this new Hero naked packed, and there was enough there to get our attention. We were itching to find out how close it can get to the current benchmark in this segment, the TVS Apache RTR 164V. But before we get through that, we need to see if the 160R is even in the same ballpark, and for that we are putting it through a real-world road test. On the new Hero Xtreme 160R, you are greeted with a striking new face that is fully LED. Now it does remind you of the Autobot symbol from the Transformers series, doesn't it? The Hero Xtreme R is quite cleverly designed as well. Take for instance this single piece panel which flows from right ahead of the fuel tank to below the rider's seat. Now the paint quality is top notch on this bike, with this lovely metallic grey finish complementing the white color quite well. The Xtreme also arrives in red and blue, but we think it looks best in white. Which one do you fancy? Let us know in the comments. The LED headlight works pretty well, but there is a small issue with the high beam. The intense beam doesn't fall on the road ahead, but much rather slightly above the ground, and that means you won't be able to spot a pothole from 20 meters away. Hero has been offering full digital consoles on most of its 200cc bikes, and now a similar unit can be found on the Xtreme 160R. Unlike its 200cc cousins, it has a negative LCD display and no smartphone connectivity. All the data is well laid out and quite legible in all lighting situations. Hero has skimped a bit in this department as there is no gear position indicator or range indicator. The tail section looks quite nice, with the tail light getting a dark smoke cover that looks quite premium. The pillion grab handles are neatly integrated into the tail section, lending the Xtreme a clean look. The switchgear on the Xtreme, while new, does look a tad bit old-fashioned. They aren't as nice in touch and feel as a few competitors in its class, but nevertheless better than what Hero used to offer earlier. All in all, the Xtreme seems to be a motorcycle that is well put together. Certainly one of the best to arrive from Hero in recent years. Swing a leg over this Xtreme and you will notice just how light the bike is. At 140 kilos weight, it is one of the lightest motorcycles in its class. Only the Yamaha FZS Fi is lighter than this bike. With a low seat height of 790 mm, even shorter riders will find it quite easy to manage the Xtreme in tight spaces or while parking. There is a bit of forward lean to get to the bars, giving it a slightly sportier stance. But the overall posture is quite comfy thanks to these mid-set foot pegs and this large roomy seat which gets this soft and plush foam padding that isolates those nasty potholes of the city quite well. A 163cc single-cylinder air-cooled mill with a 2-valve head doesn't sound exciting, right? But Hero claims that this is the most powerful bike in its class. Really, Hero? You must be joking. But, well, actually, it is no joke. It is the most powerful amongst its 2-valve brethren. Only the 4-valve packing TVS Apache RTR 164V and the Bajaj Pulsar NS 160 have the edge here. Plus, this Xtreme is an extremely light motorcycle, so it should be extremely quick as well, right? It is quick enough to get within a tenth of the BS4 Gixxer's 0 to 60 time, but to 100, it is on par. As for the BS6 Gixxer, that's heavier and makes less power, So we expect the Xtreme to trump that easily. In the in-gear accelerations, the Xtreme is on par with his 160cc rivals, which is a bit of a downer as we hoped that the weight advantage would help it be quicker. But it isn't. But just like the Gixxer, these comparisons are all to its BS4 rivals. For now. That said, the engine handles city duties brilliantly. Majority of the drive is concentrated between 3000 and 6000 RPM. And since all the power is focused in the mid-range, you don't spend too much time shifting in the city. And that is a good thing as the gear shifter is a bit notchy. Out in the urban jungle, you can slot the bike in fifth and it will chug along from speeds as low as 25 kmph. And since you don't need to work the gearbox that often, it delivers fantastic city fuel efficiency of 55.5 kmpl. But the lack of top-end performance means the Xtreme struggles to reach 100 kmph. The performance does seem to fade away post 7000 RPM, and there is very little to extract from the small mill post 8000 RPM. You can sustain 80 kmph on the highway quite easily, and highway fuel efficiency figure of 47 kmpl is not too bad either. This is an all-new motor and you can feel it on the refinement front. There are hardly any vibrations experienced anywhere on the bike, and only when the engine is nearing 8000 RPM do you feel a light buzz at the heel plates. Believe it or not, this 37mm conventional telescopic fork is built by Showa, and the 7-step preload adjustable monoshock that you find on this bike is completely new. Now there's a nice suppleness to the ride as it handles out most road undulations without throwing a hissy fit. Now the suspension units have been tuned quite well to handle India, the real India. Allow me to get a little geeky here. You see, the initial bit of the compression stroke of the spring is nice and soft. So it handles most of the small bumps really well. But once the spring is a little compressed, the following compression stroke is firm. The end result is that it absorbs big bumps, but the bike doesn't wallow. And if you were worried that the softly sprung suspension could bottom out, well then you shouldn't, as it holds its own even when tackling some of the gnarly speed breakers that are so commonly found in our country. We are blown away by just how light and agile the Xtreme is. Just a light push at the bars and the bike drops into the corner quite easily. Now it has the shortest wheelbase in its class, and thanks to the forward set stance, you are in firm control when enjoying the twisty bits. And also the Xtreme is extremely stable in the bends, and one does not require much effort when switching directions. Credit must be given to the new 130 section rear radial tire sourced from MRF. So if you want to have fun and you are learning the ropes, it is a good companion. Everyone will appreciate the benefits of the lightness, as it is a boon in the city. You can pretty much zip through slow-moving traffic without breaking a sweat. Is it the most agile 160cc naked? While we cannot say for certain without riding it back to back with its class rivals, but it surely does make a compelling case for itself. The braking performance of the Xtreme is pretty decent. It does take a bit of time to come to a dead halt, but the brake feel isn't spongy or wooden either. Single channel ABS is present and it doesn't kick in too suddenly. At Rs 99,950 for the single disc variant and rupees 1,03,500 for this twin disc variant, the Hero Xtreme 160R is one of the most affordable bikes in its class. And if you're in the market for a no-nonsense daily commuter with slightly sporty intentions, it makes for a good purchase. Plus, it looks really good, is very comfy, and can handle anything that Indian roads could throw at it with grace. So does it really outshine its competition? Well, we think Hero has done enough to take on the Gixxers and the FZs of the world. But what about when it goes toe-to-toe with the current king of the segment, the Apache RTR 164V? Sounds like an interesting comparison, don't you think? So make sure you're subscribed to ZigWheels and click that little bell icon to be amongst the first to be notified of when that video drops on our channel.